to the high table. Let's welcome him as well to the high table, please. Honorable member, you're welcome. Please, let's put hands together for him, ladies and gentlemen, the high table. Dr. Monday, our friend, let's put hands together for him, ladies and gentlemen, as he joins us on the high table. I'd like to also welcome the paramount ruler of Akwa Ibom local government area, His Royal Majesty, Edidem Okuku Okonuko, to please join us on the high table as well. Let's put our hands together for him. Please, can we give him another beautiful round of applause? I'd like to warmly welcome also the chairman of Akwa Ibom State Internal Revenue Service, in the person of Mr. Okon. So please join us on the high table, sir. Please, can we clap better for him, ladies and gentlemen? I'd like to say that if I have more names, I shall not hesitate to bring them on to the head table straight away as we begin this event. The Honorable Commissioner, Minister of Finance, Mr. Nsikan, Linus, Nkan, FCA, the Accountant General of Akwa Ibom State right here with us, Pastor Wem Andrew Essien, FCA, the head of our budget office, Mr. Otu Edemasuko, also right here with us. The State Auditor General, the Chairman, Internal Revenue Service, the member and also head of Chairman House Committee on Appropriation, Honorable Udrak Ududo, also here with us. The Chairman of Internal Revenue Service, also here with us. The Clerk of the House, the Chief Registrar, the very distinguished members of the high table, the members of the State Finance Sector Coordinating Committee, senior civil servants, Chairman of Local Government Councils that are here, our esteemed royal fathers, led by His Royal Majesty, the Paramount Ruler of Akwa Ibom, senior citizens, my lords, spiritual and temporal, representatives of the financial institutions that are here, members of the academia, captains of industries, professional bodies, socio-political and socio-cultural groups. I've seen the ATFN, ATNAN, and the rest of them, our security operatives, gentlemen of the press, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. One more time, it gives me great kicks to be the one to moderate this event. And as I've had the opportunity to do so since 2016, it has always been a place of Akwa Ibom State to score the first when it comes to the budget presentation, both the passing, the signing, and of course the breakdown. And I'm sure this was able to challenge even the federal government of Nigeria. Otherwise, they decided to take the rule and the bull by the horn this time around. But all the same, please, I'd like us to give it up for Akwa Ibom State government one more time. Ladies and gentlemen, we wouldn't start this occasion without a word of prayer. Permit me at this point to please invite Permanent Secretary, Office of the Head of Civil Service, the person of Mrs. Ekaite Ekanem, to please come and give us the opening prayer. Let's put our hands together for her. 6 steps forward to give us the opening prayer.
Let us pray. Eternal and everlasting Father, we thank you for a day like this. Lord, we bless your name, the maker of the heavens and the earth. Lord, we thank you for the life that you have given us. We thank you for bringing us together like this. Lord, we thank you for Akwa Ibom State. We thank you for the government of Akwa Ibom State. Father, we ask, O God Almighty, even as we have gathered here for the purpose of looking into things that will bring Akwa Ibom forward, we want to ask for wisdom. We want to ask for direction. We want to ask, O God Almighty, that you give us everything that we need to push the state forward. Thank you for the men that you have put in position, O God Almighty, to bring this to pass. We ask, O God Almighty, that at the end of everything we will do here, all the glory shall be returned unto you. Be thou exalted, our Maker, for in Jesus Christ's name we have prayed.
Thank you once again for prayers on behalf of the head of civil service. Thank you so much, ma'am, for that wonderful prayer. Ladies and gentlemen, without much ado, straight away we'll move on to the next item on the program. Let me check it out. You have the presentation of Budget 2020 breakdown by a welcome address by the head of State Budget Office, and it's not going to be done by a less personality than the head of Budget Office of Akwa Ibom State himself, Mr. Utu Idris. Can I put hands together for you, ladies and gentlemen, as he does that place. The Honorable Commissioner of Finance and other members of the high table, our traditional fathers, finance secretaries, please permit me to rest on the already established protocol. It is a great privilege and honor for me to welcome you to this breakdown of the provisions of the approved budget of Akwa Ibom State for the year 2020. This has become a yearly event where a forum like this is created to further analyze and offer more clarification on the provisions of the approved budget. Section 2, subsection 1 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria,
as amended, provides that the governor shall cause to be prepared and laid before the House of Assembly at any time before the commencement of each financial year, estimates of revenue and expenditures of the state for the next ensuing financial year. In compliance with this constitutional provision, His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Akwa Ibom State, Mr. Udom Gabriel Emmanuel, presented the year 2020 budget of industrialization for poverty alleviation phase 2 to the Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly on Tuesday, 8th of October, 2019. After due consideration, the appropriation bill was passed by the 7th Assembly on Thursday, 7th December, 2019. The appropriation bill, as passed by the House of Assembly, was assented to by His Excellency the Governor on Wednesday, 18th December 2019, thereby making Akwa Ibom State one of the few states of the Federation whose approved budget will be ready for implementation on the 1st of January 2020. I wish to commend the chairman and members of the Finance and Appropriation Committee of the Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly, in particular, as well as the leadership and members of the 7th Assembly in general, for their effort in ensuring the early consideration and passage of the 2020 appropriation bill. I thank His Excellency the Governor for assenting to the appropriation bill as passed by the Assembly. The year 2020 approved budget is a complete IPSAS accrual compliant budget, which takes into consideration the transaction classification into the revenue, expenditures, assets, and liabilities. The 2020 budget of industrialization for poverty alleviation phase 2 is packaged to highlight on the vision, policies, programs, and projects of the present administration in delivering to the people the dividends of democracy through the 8-point completion agenda of industrialization, aviation development, rural and riverine areas development, agriculture, human capacity development, security, infrastructure and promotion of small and medium-scale enterprises to bring about a coordinated and sustainable development with multiplier effect on economic growth, employment generation, and wealth creation, which in turn will lead to economic stability. Today, the Honorable Commissioner of Finance will take us through the achievement of the year 2019 approved budget, and this will cover the performance report as at November 2019 in terms of revenue from all sources, recurrent expenditure, which includes the personnel cost, overhead cost, consolidated revenue fund charges, as well as capital expenditures. The 2020 budget is predicated on a sound policy trust and implementation strategies that will ensure the realization of the intended goals and objectives effectively. The Honorable Commissioner will present this policy trust, implementation strategies, the approved sectoral projections for the year 2020, as well as the priority projects of government. I urge you all to take full advantage of this opportunity to avail yourselves of the ideals of the year 2020 approved budget. I want to thank you so much for honoring our invitation to be here today. This is wishing you a happy 2020 budget analysis session. Happy New Year in advance, and may God bless Akwa Ibom State.
We need to give him another beautiful round of applause. Lovely address day by the head state budgets. Mr. Utu Ediana-Suko, thank you so much, sir. The Honorable Commissioner, very distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, while the address by the head state budget was going on, we had on arrival the Honorable Commissioner, Economic Development and Ibom Deep Sea Port, Akwa Ibom State walked in. Ladies and gentlemen, let's make welcome Mr. Akan Okon. Let's put our hands together for him, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure if you look through the program, you would see some signature projects that are enough to speak for Akwa Ibom State. And even when you want to go right inside the program, those are also some of them, a few of them. We know His Excellency our Governor to be a man of action, Mr. Industrialization. Otherwise, this credence also goes to his lieutenant, and they are the likes of the ones you're seeing right here. And one of them is the Honorable Commissioner for Finance. Ladies and gentlemen, on that note, permit me as a welcome this great guru of financial institutions, this great guru who's been doing it and is still doing it. It's making Akwa Ibom proud. Let's welcome presentation of budget 2020 breakdown by the Honorable Commissioner for Finance, Mr. Nsikan, Linus Nkan, FCA. Let's put our hands together for him, ladies and gentlemen. Please, can we clap better? Let's clap better, please. Let's clap better. Let's clap better. Please keep on clapping. Thank you.
Good afternoon, all. The Commissioner for Economic Development and Ibom Deep Sea Project here with us. The Accountant General of Akwa Ibom State. The Head of the Budget Office. The Chairman of Finance and Appropriation of the State House of Assembly, the Clerk of the State House of Assembly, Chairman, Akwa Ibom State Board of Internal Revenue, my brother, the Auditor General of Akwa Ibom State, other members of the High Table, the Royal Fathers here present, the Permanent Secretaries, members of our cultural group, members of our civil liberty organization that are here, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you so much for this turnout that we have this afternoon, for this very important event. Honestly, when I came into the hall, I was really overwhelmed by the turnout of all the people here to witness the budget breakdown for 2020. To me, it clearly indicates the enthusiasm of the people of Akwa Ibom State to participate in the budgetary process. And it also underscore the importance that the citizens of Akwa Ibom State really attached to the budget preparation and even its implementation in the state, knowing full well that budget is a very important tool used by the government to govern the people. And the resources at the disposal of government belongs to the people. And how the government utilized these resources that belongs to the people for provisions of goods and services and ensure better living for the people, I think is of great importance to the people. And that's why today we have even the traditional rulers in good number coming here to also show their support to the government. And also, I think they will also take things home here, because when we are talking about budget or budgetary process in government, we are looking at revenue and expenditure. And the most reliable revenue element of the government is from taxes. That's the contributions of the citizens to government for purpose of rendering government service to the people. And the traditional fathers has great rule to do as far as taxes, payment of tax by the citizens is concerned. The traditional rulers are to direct their people, citizens under their domain, at their various fora, enlighten the people on the need for the people to pay their tax as part of their contribution to the government. And the government now use the tax to provide the services that we need to have a better life. So on this note, I want to really welcome all of you, as we are pleased to have you present here to listen to our budget breakdown for 2020. I think before we go into 2020, we should also give you an account of how your resources was utilized by the government to provide the needed service and infrastructures in 2019. Who control this, right? By way of introduction, the 2020 appropriation bill passed by the Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly on December 5th, 2019, was signed into law by our executive governor, Mr. Emmanuel, on the 18th December of 2019. Today, it is my duty to explain the policy thrust, implementation strategies, and other ideals and principles of 2020 budget. 2020 budget is Christian's budget of industrialization for poverty alleviation phase 2, which implies that our emphasis will be on improvement, sustenance, and continuity of the already actualized and ongoing social sales. Earnings generally range on government buildings, rents on lands, investment income, interest earns. A total of 44.2 billion was approved estimates, and the actual for the period under review was 28.4 billion. or a total of 64.3% of the budget. Next slide. This slide further shows the schedules of revenue collection from the federal locations account, FAC, for the period. Shows from January to November what we got under statutory allocation, what we got under derivation, under value-added tax, VAT, and the total allocation. Then we have the total deductions. These are deductions made at source. And then the net receipt was 158.1 billion. This is actually the total money we receive from Abuja. I know this is authentic record, verifiable, because sometimes I'm aware we have some quasi accountants that will come to Akwa Ibom State with fake figures to give to the people concerning what we receive from Akwa Ibom. But these are the figures that we genuinely collected under those headings from the federal government, that is the federation account. And this could be cross-checked from any quarters, maybe revenue, mobilization and fiscal commission, or the office of the accountant general of the federation. If you do your independent check, this is what the government of Akwa Ibom State got for the period, not the confusion that distractors always come around to confuse the people. Next slide. This is the summary of actual capital receipts for 2019. We have the transfer from the consolidated revenue funds, opening balance from the previous year, internal bank loan, grants during the period, ecological fund, which we did not receive anything under that heading, investment income, reimbursement from federal government on routes. I think this particular point is very important because lately it has been an issue of controversy from different sources. But I think this is the authentic source of what the state government received as reimbursements from routes that were constructed by the state government on behalf of the federal government. This is an authentic information because I'm aware people have been calling from everywhere that they say, government collected this, collected that. But I think today is an opportunity for us to avail ourselves with what is authentic information with regards to this piece of information. We have the total receipt of 218.6 billion as against 447.9 billion, making 48.8% of the budget. This slide shows the actual expenditure profile of the state government for 2019, under which we have the personnel cost, the overhead cost, consolidated revenue fund charges, the total, and then also under the various sectors, as we have the administration sector, economic sector, law and justice, regional sector, social sector. These are the actual expenditure profile. A total of 248.3 billion was achieved for the period under review as against the 672.9 billion approved estimates, which is 36.9%. The next slides continue to show the summary of the recurrent expenditure for the period under review. Here we have the recurrent expenditure broken down to personnel cost, overhead cost, and then the consolidated revenue fund charges. The total of the actual for the year was 110.6 billion. It's against 225.1 billion approved estimates, which is 45.2% of the budget. This slide shows the summary of the capital expenditure for the period under the various sectors as administration, economic, law and justice, regional, social. The total actual expenditure under capital expenditure was 146.6 billion. It's against the 447.9 billion approved estimate, or 32.7% achieved. Next slide. That's been review of the performance of 2019 budget. For 2020 budget, the objectives are there. If I could read the policy thrust of the 2020 budget, the first in the second term of this administration will be to continue to gradually metamorphose the Akwa Ibom state from a civil service state to a largely private sector driven state, depending least on statutory allocation as the main source of revenue to the state. This will be achieved by creating more jobs opportunities through opening up the states to encourage private investments, creating a welcoming environment for investors, strengthening existing industries and establishing new ones, as well as improving on the IGR processes and drive. It is expected that these, as well as the provisions of basic infrastructure, enhancement of security, development of human capital, and boosting services in education and healthcare will lead to an overall improvement in the living standard of our people. The 2020 budget will also serve as a starting point in the actualization of government 8-point completion agenda of industrialization, aviation development, rural and riverine areas development, agriculture, human capacity development, security, infrastructure, and promotion of small and medium-scale enterprises. This budget will properly link all the 8 fronts in order to bring about a coordinated and sustainable development with multiplier effects on economic growth, employment generation, and wealth creation, which will in turn lead to economic stability and social cohesion. The policy objectives of the 2020 budget include to continue to promote trade, commerce, and tourism between the state and the rest of the world. This will be done by encouraging and sustaining small, medium-scale enterprises through the development of an efficient and sustainable microcredit framework as part of wealth creation and employment generation strategies. 2, to employ ICT, science and technology as a tool for employment generations and wealth creations. 3, to reduce mobility and mortality from communicable and non-communicable diseases. thereby guaranteeing a healthy populace. These will be realized through our continuous effort in the rehabilitations of our health institutions and provisions of additional healthcare facilities and services. 4, to sustain the implementations of government policy of free and compulsory qualitative education through the expansions of facilities to cope with increased school enrollment and the provisions of teaching aids in public primary and secondary schools. 5 is to ensure the availability of durable and affordable shelter for the indigenes of the state through the development of low-cost housing estates in the states. 6, to increase the internally generated revenue of the state by expanding and diversifying the state resource base. 7, to aggressively pursue the development of other internally revenue-generating sources in the state, maritime, coastal, and inland waterways, harnessing revenue on landed properties and others. 8 is to continue work on the construction of Ibom deep sea ports and expansions of Ibom Industrial City to complement government efforts in the creations of enduring structures for employment generations, wealth creations, and increased internally generated revenue. 9 is to complete the cargo and maintenance, repairs and overhauling MRO facilities of Victor Atta International Airport as a way of pursuing increased foreign exchange revenue from plane maintenance and other aviation services. 10, to expand and acquire additional aircraft for Ibom Air to further increase the ease of traveling in and around the state, thus encouraging more investments and tourists to the state. Improve agricultural output and ensure food sufficiency through the supply of improved agricultural inputs, credit, and extension services. To pursue public-private partnership investment strategy in order to enhance our revolutionary efforts in agriculture and industry. To promote youth and women empowerment, as well as the protections of children and other vulnerable groups in the society. 14, to ensure the security of lives and properties and create a peaceful and safe society through the provisions of effective security network in the states. To ensure accountability and transparency and the enthronement of best practices in all areas of governance as an enduring standard of public sector administrations. To develop the rural areas to enable the dividends of democratic government to be felt in every part of the state, and also reduce the burdens of population drifts to explosions on the urban areas. To maintain good working relationship between the executive, legislative, and the judiciary arms of the state government, and also ensure grassroots developments and empowerment through the enablement of effective local government administrations. To maintain the existing cordial relationship with the central government in order to attract federal presence to our states. And finally, to unify the state as well as ensure due respect for the traditional institutions and elders in the society in order to attain peace and prosperity in the state, and also give all Akwa Ibomites, both within and in diaspora, a sense of belonging. To achieve those objectives, the implementation strategies of the 2020 budget are hereby provided. These include to employ effective public-private partnership strategy to provide needed industrial, infrastructural, and agricultural development, to attract potential investors and donor agencies to invest in the relevant key sectors of the state economy, and undertake robust human capital development, to strengthen the industrial base of the state through the accelerations of industrialization and investment activities by providing an enabling environment for the private sector to strive. This will lead to productions of enough goods and services for domestic use as well as for exports. To set up new industries and maintain existing ones in agro, industrial, information technology, as well as oil and gas sectors. And also improving on the IGR by eliminating evasions in payments, wastages, and leakages in collections and expenditure, and developing tourism potentials. To stimulate the agricultural and agro-light industry to boost productions of local farmers to ensure food sufficiency for local consumptions, exports, as well as the provisions of raw materials for the industries. To prioritize the completions of ongoing projects in the states, and to expand and improve the infrastructures and services in the healthcare delivery at primary and secondary levels. To improve service delivery in the educational sector with emphasis on science and technology, as well as information and communication technology. Empower women and youth through the capacity building, empowerment, skills acquisitions, and elimination of gender discrimination practices. Enforce child protection laws and create a conducive society for a Akwa Ibom child to flourish and realize his or her potentials, and to enhance delivery of qualitative and prompt service by the public servants. Ensure enforcement of peace, law, and order by building an efficient and proactive security network to make the state conducive to live and to invest in. To provide recreational and sporting facilities to increase life expectancy, boost sport development, and ensure improved performance of the state representatives at the local, national, and international sporting competitions. By extension, this activity will also create employment, generate wealth, and reduce poverty among our teeming youths. We have the internally generated revenue, the approved estimate for 2020, also compared to the approved estimates of 2019 and their differences. For IGR, for 2020, 55.5 billion is estimated for 2020, as against the 46.7 billion that was estimated for 2019, as earlier shown. We also have statutory revenue, derivations, VAT, budget support, less recurring expenditure, ministries and departments, MDAs, and consolidated revenue fund charges, transferred from the consolidated revenue fund charged, add all capital receipt, then the total receipts estimates for 2020 is 369.576986,280 for 2020. This is against the 447,902,796,440 approved estimates of 2019. We have a difference of 78.3 billion or 17.5% compare the 2 years budgets. The current expenditure for 2020 is 228.5 billion for compared to estimates approved for 2019, which was 225 billion. We have a marginal increase there. Then the capital expenditure plus the recurrent expenditure. That gives us the budget size of 597 7,735 billion for 2020. This is against the 672,984,760,760 naira for 2019. And the difference of the 2 years is 75.2 billion, or 11.2%. The estimated internally generated revenue profile for 2020 is shown on this slide. These are personal tax, licenses, royalties, fee, fines, sales, earning, rents on lands, investment income, interest, and retained earnings of parastatals and board. For 2020, the total of 55.5 billion is the approved estimates. For 2019, it was 46.7 billion, and a difference of 8.7 billion, or 18%. That's for the internally generated revenue. The recurrent expenditure estimate of 2020 is on these slides. This includes the personnel cost of 55 billion, 55.0, overheads cost of 42.9, and consolidated revenue fund of 127.6, and a total 225 billion. That is approved estimate of 2029. For 2020, personnel cost is 61 billion, overhead cost is 50.2 billion, consolidated revenue fund charges 116.9 billion, and the total. Therefore, the total recurrent revenue for 2019 was 374.7 billion. For 2020 budget is 382.5 billion. Next slide. The capital receipt for 2020, as earlier shown, is 369,576,986,280. The opening balance for the previous year is 9,944,442,000. It is noted that 58.2% of the resources needed to finance the capital budget of the 2020 will be realized from other capital receipts. Next slide. The capital receipt analysis and summaries is here. For 2019, 447.9 billion. For 2020, 369.5 billion. Next slide. For 2020 budget, the sectoral highlight is administration, recurrent expenditure 26.1, capital expenditure 100.0, and total 126.1, or 21% of the total budget. Economics, recurrent expenditure is 152.2 billion, capital expenditure is 244.2 billion, total 396.4 billion, or 66.3% of the total budget. Law and justice 6.5 billion, capital expenditure. Then that's recurring expenditure, while capital expenditure is 3.9, giving us a total of 10.5, 1.8%. Regional is 0.8 for recurrent expenditure and 0.7 for capital expenditure. That gives us 1.5 total, or 0.3% of the total budget. Social is 42.3 recurrent expenditure, and capital expenditure is 20.6. We have 63.0 total for social, or 10.5% of the total budget. Therefore, 228.1% represents the recurrent expenditure for 2020, while 369.5 represent capital expenditure. And we have a total budget size of 597.7 billion, total budget size for 2020. These are allocations of the 2020 approved capital expenditure to MDAs. We have the Akwa Ibom State Investment Corporations through to House of Assembly Service Commission. The next slide there. The next slide is allocation to all the MDAs for their capital expenditure. The next slide. Good. Next slide. Good. The summations of the total allocations to the various MDAs in the state gives us the total of the 369.5 billion approved capital provision for 2020. Next slide. These are the priority projects. There are so many of them. There are really, really many of them. Capitalization of Akwa savings and loan, provisions of facilities for conduct of election, AKISEC. Next slide. Go ahead. Next slide. Good. Those are priority projects. What priority project really tries to indicate here the various projects that the government has earmarked to undertake in the course of this year is a very long list, and is available in the budget documents that is available immediately after this presentation. We are going to put it on the website of the state. Hard copy will also be available, the budget office, Minister of Finance, Accountant General Office, Governor's Office, and other public offices for anybody that will want to verify or go through it to identify whatever is of your interest to check out and confirm. And also, when it be, call the governors or the government attention to ensure that the one that pertains to you or that relates to your community of any interest to you is being undertaken. So this is a budget breakdown for 2020. Thank you, and may God bless you all.
Ladies and gentlemen, please can we give the Honorable Commissioner another beautiful round of applause? Well, it's so good to know that this particular exercise right now is being streamed live, and I've heard some responses. I've seen some of them online. The 2020 breakdown of the Akwa Ibom State's budget that was performed there by the Honorable Commissioner, Minister of Finance, Mr. Nsikan, Linus Nkan, FCA. Very distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, while the Honorable Commissioner was presenting the breakdown, we had some guests walked in. Permit me to please very briefly introduce and welcome them. First on the list is the information boss himself, The Honorable Commissioner for Information walked in here looking so smart and handsome as usual. Let's make welcome Mr. Charles Sudol. You're welcome, sir. We also had here in attendance the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Trade and Investment here, Mr. Oliver Udokpo is also here. Welcome, sir. Welcome also the Permanent Secretary, Economic Development and Ibom Deep Sea Port, Mr. Ikpenyong Efyong, also here. You're welcome, sir. We appreciate also the presence of the Permanent Secretary, Hospitals Management Board, Mrs. Stella Etogopan is also here. Ma'am, we thank you for your time. We also have here the labor union leaders, most especially that of the NLC, Akwa Ibom State here, the chairman, the state chairman, Comrade Sonny James is also here. Let's put our hands together for him, ladies and gentlemen. We also have the TUC's counterpart, TUC chairman, Comrade Dominic Abang is also here. You're welcome. Please let's put our hands together for them. Thank you very much. We will take very briefly, just for 2 minutes. We know we've sat for quite a while now, and I'm sure a whole lot of people after that long session may have felt somehow, but let's pour you up a little bit as I welcome for just 2 minutes, as 120 seconds, Utum band that is here. Please entertain us and bring us back to the spirit of why we are here as we get set for the interactive session. We shall come back and let you know how it's going to run so that wherever you're seated and whoever you represent, when the time comes, we will let that flow. Thank you very much. But just before Utum comes on, please, Utum, if you're set, just get ready. I'll be coming to you. Let me very quickly and warmly recognize some of the professional bodies that are here as well. We had recognized some of them, but we have here with us the chairman of ICAN in Akwa Ibom State, Etenyin Ikbong, is also here. Let's put our hands together for him, ladies and gentlemen. And other representative of the financial institutions, we appreciate your presence here. Let me very warmly recognize the presence of the following Akpan and Dem Market Association that are here. Please, let's put our hands together for them. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Please.
you don't want to be a young South Town. And tell them to say, and you're singing out some. I could be a lot. You can say, I'm sorry to over. I saw you saw the Canada. I saw. Ariabu Mongorico, Asiagu Fawarina, Arena Nikonopon, Ariabu Mongorico. Bongaria, Bongan Jogoro, Yara Yara, Vandia Gubos, Yara Yara. Yara yara, bandiya kuwa taga. Yara yara. Ariagu mongoriko, Ariagu favorita, Arina di konopon, Ariagu mongoriko. Ariagu mongoriko, Ariagu favorita, Arina di konopon, Ariagu mongoriko. Yeah. Ariagu favorita. Adiagu fawaram kasya, abi bawayanu fangwera kapang wingwana. Atosya, drogerara. Curcio. I ain't a better man coming to my night. I ain't a better man yet. I ain't a better man coming to my night. You know my area, I got glory, this area. Nene, Mega, Basifrega, Casteria. Ariaga keba kabiyogo, mena tabire bejongiro, roba kabayo already, hamide lulo gadi demo. Irawe mega banda, Ariaga kera kumairem, Iranga wana kampo, ayine kera kuryawe. Ujama keriye yekongina, urwa keriye yekonginya, boyfriend keriye yenyambe, irwe kera yesyomo, ebe keriye yetatakua, hatensebe.
Thank you very much. I think they deserve a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Utum band there. Thank you very much to the dancers. Also, thank you most kindly, the Honorable Commissioner, very distinguished guests on the high table, ladies and gentlemen. Just because of the fact that in no time from now, there is a meeting that concerns every one of us. I'm sure you know about that. If you didn't, it's all about the minimum wage meeting. I'm sure everyone will be delighted to hear that. So we need to, speed up a little bit so we can allow these personalities to go and attend to that meeting. But very, very briefly, because of this, every interactive session shall be put on writing. Please just put on whatever you have to say into writing. Just note it and then send it across to any of our ushers around so that the Honorable Commissioner can attend to them. We may not have the time to give everybody the microphone to speak. So please, ladies and gentlemen, kindly put on writing whatever you want to ask, whatever question you have. Well, very warmly, let me recognize the presence of the Vice Chairman of Uyo Local Government area on behalf of the local government, the Chairman, Local Government Council, as it were. He's been around. Let's welcome Okai Udeme. He's right here with us. Let's put our hands together for him. You're welcome, sir. Let's also appreciate the presence of the NUJ Chairman in the state, the person of Mr. Amos Etuk is also right here. Let's put our hands together for him. You're welcome, sir. We appreciate you. Let's take a few goodwill messages, just three. Just three. While you put down your notes, whatever you have to send across as your question or interactive as it were, let's welcome, first of all, the Chairman of Internal Revenue Service, Akwa Ibom State, Mr. Okon, to please come give us his goodwill message. Let's put our hands together for him, ladies and gentlemen.
The Honorable Commissioner of Finance, the members of the State Executive Council, the traditional rulers, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, permit me to stand on the already established protocol because of time. I should like to seize this moment first and foremost to congratulate the Honorable Commissioner for Finance on the well articulated presentation and the breakdown of the 2020 budget, and by extension, the entire budget team. I also like to, again, thank the numerous Akwa Ibom State taxpayers for the voluntary compliance that we have achieved in the year 2019, which accounted for the significant improvement in the internally generated revenue of the state to the figure that has been put on the board for us to see. Let me acknowledge the great contribution of the Chairman of the Preparation and Finance Committee of the House and the entire members of the House, the leadership of the House, for the support they have given to the revenue service. All this wouldn't have been possible without the reforms, the support, the structure that His Excellency the Governor, Nodo Emmanuel, has put in place to enable us to operate effectively in the course of the year. I would like to draw attention again to the role that the IGR will have to play in the 2020 budget. As shown, we have to fund the budget to the extent of 55 billion, 55.5 billion in 2020, coming from about 30 billion of 2019. That's a significant shift. But I have the confidence that given the support, the voluntary compliance, and the encouragement that we have from our teaming taxpayers, thank God that traditional rulers are here, that will also take the message back to our people, that they have to continue to contribute that little portion of their income towards the growth of the state, towards the development of the state, towards the completion agenda that we have to do in the next 3.5 years. Having said that, let me join the Honorable Commissioner for Finance to thank all the guests that have turned out here today to witness this great event of budget breakdown for 2020. And I do hope that we will go home satisfied with the presentations, because the budget has a lot of in stock for all and sundry across the population of Akwa Ibom State, and even for those who are residents here but who are not from Akwa Ibom State. And I'm sorry, for who are residents here who are not from Akwa Ibom State, the year promises to bring opportunities for further development, investment across the sectors of the economy, as broken down by the Honorable Commissioner for Finance. Honorable Commissioner, sir, accept my goodwill. Thank you and God bless.
Thank you very much, Chairman IRS, Akwa Ibom State. Let's make welcome this time around the Honorable Commissioner for Economic Development and Ibom Deep Sea Port for his goodwill. Let's put our hands together for Mr. Akan Okon.
The Chairman, Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly, Finance and Appropriation, and the delegation from the House of Assembly, the Honorable Commissioner for Finance and Information here present, the Chairman, Board of Internal Revenue. I can see the traditional fathers here. I recognize all of you, sir. The Permanent Secretary, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very happy today because as a state, we're able to work within the time frame that can enable us gain the advantages of having our budget passed and analysis done on time. But before I proceed, I want to thank all the permanent secretaries here from the various ministries. Your hard work and your cooperation is what has led us to what we have today. I know that during the bilateral discussion, you all came with very large figures. In fact, the summation of all your figures were in trillions. But when we explained to you the reason why we cannot continue to have an overbloated budget, you ensure that you bought into our vision. Because we want a situation that our budget should be realistic. And it's through your cooperation, we've been able to reduce the budget size from what it was in the previous year. Because we said we should have our fundamentals right. That our revenue profile is not going up, and there's no reason why our budget should go up. Because if that happens, you can see from the analysis of last year's budget that we are 46-point-something%. We want a situation that anytime our budget is analyzed, we'll be able to have at least a pass mark, which is 70%. I want to thank my colleague, the Commissioner for Finance, for the analysis of the budget. And I want to thank everyone who has been involved in the budgeting process, from the ministries to the House of Assembly. The House of Assembly promptly took the issue of this budget to the floor, and it was passed on time. And with this, we are very certain that come January 1, our budget will be published online. And this will enable this state gain the benefit of about $1 million for achieving this feat. So I want to thank all of us that this is the way we should continue. That next year, we should even get our budget ready by, Chairman, when are we getting it ready? And then to, you know, like the Chairman of IRS spoke, we want to thank all of you for your taxes. But you know, like Oliver Twist, those who are not in the tax net should come in voluntarily, so that His Excellency Governor Manuel will have the much needed resources to deliver on the good work that he's doing. He's implementing project that is having direct impact on the life of our people and in the standard of living too. So I want to thank all of you for coming, and may God bless all of you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Commissioner, Economic Development, and about Deep Sea Port, for that goodwill message. Please, would like to sound this warning or note, as it were. Once you've written down whatever you want to ask or contributions for the interactive session, kindly put down your name or your group that you're representing, please. Thank you very much. The last for the goodwill message is going to be presented by the Chairman, House Committee on Appropriation, Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together as welcome Right Honorable Udwak Udodo to the microphone.
With profound humility to the chairman of this very great event, the initiator, Commissioner for Finance, and let me use him as a point of contact to recognize every other commissioners that are here. Let me also use the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Finance, to recognize every other permanent secretaries that are here. I recognize the head of the budget office. In a very special way, I recognize the chairman, Board of Internal Revenue, and the clerk of the Akwa Ibom State House Assembly. The chief registrar, judiciary is here. And let me also recognize all the traditional fathers that are here. Let me recognize the professionals that are here, members of the fourth estate of the realm. Ladies and gentlemen. Sir, I want to join others to really commend you for this very important gathering. This has given me the trust and the belief that the processes of making budget in Akwa Ibom State is very transparent. Starting from when various MDAs went to the Ministry of Economic Development. Long after that, the budget was presented by His Excellency to the State House of Assembly precisely on the 8th of October. And on the 10th of October, the House of Assembly, after the budget had passed through second reading, committed that budget appropriation bill rather to Committee on Finance and Appropriation. And we also embarked on public hearing. That was another way of letting Akwa Ibom people know what was contained in the budget estimate. Various people came and made their inputs. And after that, various standing committees interfaced with various MDAs. After that, we went on IFSA's training. After that, and finally, the Committee on Finance and Appropriation started engaging the various MDAs, which was very transparent. It was open to the media. And today, sir, you've also gone further to break down and analyze the 2019 budget and the 2020 budget. It's a very great fit. And so I join others to commend you. And so for the doubting Thomases, you said it here, for the doubting Thomases and for those who don't analyze and investigate before taking the information out. The information given by the Commissioner for Finance regarding the 2019 and 2020 budget, like he said, we published on Akwa Ibom online website. And so you have every ample opportunity to analyze and ask questions and seek for clarification where necessary. And so I thank you so deeply. Let me also assure you on behalf of the Akwa Ibom State House Assembly, because one of the driving forces for us to ensure that we deliver on time was the financial benefits that you said will come once the budget is passed within 2019 and signed into law. And so when the Commissioner for Economic Development and Commissioner of Finance came with that plea, even when we were doing our budget implementation appraisal in August, Mr. Kanakon came with that plea that Akwa Ibom State House Assembly should pass this budget within this year so that His Excellency can assent, and so that the grants by the World Bank will not elude Akwa Ibom people. And as Assembly, that we will always be ready to partner and synergize with the executive for the betterment of Akwa Ibom State people, we decided to swing into action. And I want to commend all the head of MDAs for your cooperation to ensuring that we pass that budget within time. On 18th of December this year, I was a witness. The Speaker of the Akwa Ibom State House Assembly was also a witness. His Excellency signed that budget into law. And today, 30th December 2019, the Commissioner of Finance and others have come up here to analyze and do the budget breakdown. And it is my sincere belief that that thing that we targeted, that those millions of dollars that we targeted, the executive will do the needful to also ensure that Akwa Ibom State government have that money. And so finally, let me assure you that as long as the Seventh Assembly is concerned, the Speaker has mandated me to tell you we'll continue to partner. Like when Akanagon said, he asked us to, when we are going to finish 2020 budget. Sir, I want to give you a message to His Excellency. If His Excellency brings the budget and, we on time, if he brings the budget on time, I want to assure you, this one we use about a month and 2 weeks. But when you bring that of 220, I want to assure you within 2 weeks, we'll finish that budget and send it back to His Excellency for asset. And so, please, let me say one thing very important here. And finally, before I leave, if we are truly disciples of His Excellency, So far, so good. In his second term, he has spent almost 7 months. And so 3 years and 3 months are left. And you can agree with me, maybe after 2 years, politicking will begin to come in so seriously. One thing is to have the budget passed and assented to. Another thing is implementation. May God never allow us, and may God never allow us to fail in the areas that will be assigned to us to implement this budget for the benefit of Akwa Ibom people, and to also ensure that by the end of His Excellency's tenure, he also leave a very remarkable legacy. May God bless all of us.
Thank you very much, sir, as chairman on the preparation. We appreciate you, Right Honorable Udakududo. Thank you very much. Permit me, with the permission of the Honorable Commissioner, I've just been informed that I could call 2 more people, and one of them is the Chairman TUC, and the last will be the Honorable Commissioner for Information. TUC Chairman, please, can you come to the microphone? Let's put our hands together for him. Just 120 seconds, please. Thank you.
Due respect to the Honorable Commissioner for Finance and the chief host of this presentation, and my deep respect to the members of the high table, please permit me to stand on existing protocol. I'm particularly delighted by that presentation, and it's very informing, particularly the 2019 performance. We've done very well. And I've also compared that with our drive for the 2020. But permit me to highlight just one area. In terms of the deficit arising from the internal revenue, we estimated 44 billion, and we got about 28 billion as receipts. That translates to about 64% of what we estimated. A good average, though. But for the 2020, which we have also estimated above the estimate of 2019, I want to encourage the team to look back at the revenue strategy. Because if we had put all that we did in 2019 but could not realize up to 70% of our estimate, then we need to look back on our strategy. But I'm optimistic on that based on the value of VAT for the 2020, which is 7.5 as against the 5% of last year. So I believe we can actually get a good revenue to accomplish the 2020 budget. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That was the TUC Chairman, Akwa Ibom State, Comrade Dominic Abang. Let's make welcome now the information boss himself, the Honorable Commissioner for Information, for his own goodwill message. Let's welcome Mr. Charles Udo. Put your hands together for him, ladies and gentlemen.
The Chairman, Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly Committee on Appropriation, Honorable Commissioners, especially Commissioner for Finance, Permanent Secretaries, Chairmen of Boards and Commission, our Royal Fathers. Today's event is significant. Significant in the sense that the Akwa Ibom State government of today is one that is known, celebrated universally for transparency, accountability, and integrity. And nothing could have exemplified that more than when in 2017, His Excellency the Governor of Akwa Ibom State was honored in the banquet hall of Aso Rock with an Integrity and National Service Award. Today's event also goes a long way towards underscoring His Excellency the Governor's determination to ensure that at the end of his tenure in 2023, the completion agenda of this government would have been actualized. Actualizing the completion agenda would not be possible without appropriate budgeting and budget expenditure. And so today we are gathered here to take that very important step. We also have in our midst our royal fathers who are here as witnesses for this very important step in the history of Akwa Ibom State. And so as we leave this hall, we need to rise in one voice, in one unison, to tell ourselves that gone are the days when ethnicity, political sentiments would divide us. Enter a new era where Akwa Ibom will rise in one voice, in one unison, and march towards greatness. And that greatness starts from today. So I want to thank you for coming here. I want to also thank my brother for doing an excellent job. Akwa Ibom State today is one of the few states in Nigeria that publishes audited financial statements. I don't know how many states in Nigeria do that. So when you talk about integrity, we talk about transparency, it starts from here. And so this is one of those things that we've done. And I think that from my own small corner, I think that everyone who's worked diligently on this project has done an exceedingly good job. So as we rise, I want to thank you once again and say I'm delighted to be part of this event, and congratulations to my brother, the Honorable Commissioner for Finance. God bless all of us.
Thank you very much, Honorable Commissioner Information. Ladies and gentlemen, having come this far, just as I said before, we need to allow them time to please go, especially I am concerned as well that I can have that meeting on minimum wage. Straight away, we'll move into the interactive session. And if you know you've sent in your billings, they'll be taken straight away. Ladies and gentlemen, the man to supersede us is none other than the Honorable Commissioner for Finance. Let's put our hands together one more time for Mr. Nsikan Linus Nkan.
Okay, thank you once again. We have received some concerns from participants. Let me try to shed some light on some of the issues that came up from Austria. My colleague will also take some other aspects that is most qualified to speak on. We have a concern here that 2019 we had budgeted some of 21 billion for ecological funds, and we received nothing. In 2020 we have budgeted 20 billion for ecological funds. How do we hope to achieve this, bearing in mind that the local fund office under the office of the Secretary of the Federal Government says that the fund constitutes 1% of the Federation account, and it's known as derivation and ecological fund. The question is, are we certain that the fund does not come to us as part of the federal allocation? Thank you for the question, but I think I can categorically say that the fund doesn't come as part of the derivation money that comes to us. Ecological funds is provided, and like he said, is under the office of the Secretary of the Federation. For Akwa Ibom State, in 2018, we have applied for that fund, and there is a lot of processes and procedures that needs to be undertaken for you to get the money, which we have satisfied all the conditions. The appropriate offices and officers were here in Akwa Ibom State to ascertain some of the ecological problem areas in Akwa Ibom State, especially areas that are being engulfed by erosion problems. There are so many sites in Akwa Ibom State, and having certified our claims, a total sum of about 25 billion was approved for us. We expected that that money would have been released to us in 2019, and that formed the basis of the budget that we made. But it did not come. We are still pushing. I'm very optimistic that either the whole or part will be released to Akwa Ibom State in 2020, and that's the reason we are budgeting for it. So it's not part of the money we are receiving on a monthly basis from FAC. Thank you. The concerns of these two persons are on the old road constructed in the states are uncompleted. The other person said a lot of new roads constructions are observed. I think these two persons, their concerns is that we have a lot of ongoing road projects, and is advising the government not to embark on new contract. I think that's their concerns. But let me say this, that His Excellency the Governor is very much serious at ensuring that all projects that we've started in this administration will be completed. I appreciate your concerns, and I think the numerous work site we have in the state is the reflections of the mind of our governor that everywhere, all of Akwa Ibom state should be transformed to a state that, we could boost up, we're happy. All the routes in this state should be well maintained. We should have that route everywhere. That's the focus of this government. And let me also say this, even if a proportion of them still remain uncompleted, government is continuing. Isn't it? Government is continuing. A typical example is good to start. It's good to start. Once the federal government starts a project, it behoves that the next administration and all that should be able to continue. For instance, Ikoro road we have one of the major fine road we have in Akwa Ibom State today. If the last administration did not start, I think by the end of that administration, I think it was only about 30% completion. But today, because it was started, this government has ensured that that road is completed. At the moment, I think we have taken it to almost over 90%. So that is the beauty of starting some of these developmental projects. So, but the government of Udo Emmanuel is committed to ensuring that all work that we've started must be completed within the life of this administration. Thank you so much. There is also questions on the Boom Deep Seaport. Luckily, we have the man that sits on that steering committee to ensure the actualization of the Boom Deep Seaport completion is there. The person is asking when will it be commissioned. So I think he will tell us the date. Somebody says that the hope of, Science Park project is carried in this budget. Yes, it is. But let me also expatiate on the fact that the Spark project was flagged off by His Excellency a few days ago. It's part of the strategy that we enumerated that we need to deploy the private and public sector partnership for completion of some of the project. The Science Park now is being undertaken through public-private partnership. We have investors that we expect to undertake the enormous chunk of that project. What the state government needs to do is also being provided in the budget. Thank you. And also said, please compel NEPA to buy our state, is it the meter? So please compel NEPA to buy our state produced meters and distribute to Akwa Ibom to avoid issues with them. I think that's actually what is ongoing. We don't have NEPA again, but the Port Harcourt Electricity Company, which is the company in charge of managing our electricity in Akwa Ibom State and I think other 4 states, they are working in partnership with the metering company to provide meters to consumers in Akwa Ibom State. If you, I think they have their office in the wet housing somewhere on 4 lane. You see, sometimes you see a huge number of people on that route. Those are the people that are selling the meters to homes. I think they've started the pilot program in the wet housing, Shelter Afrique. I think they will extend to cover all part of the metropolis and then extend to the rural area. So the programs is ongoing already. I thank the governor for capturing the 30,000 salary in the budget. So that is the truth. Thank you. So let me give the commissioner for Ibom DC Port to brighten our day on the commission date.
Yeah. Good afternoon, all. I can understand your anxiety regarding this project, because this project, it is what is going to change the entire landscape of Akwa Ibom State. You should be talking about the date of commencement of construction. I want to thank our governor, His Excellency Governor Odem Emmanuel, for the vision in ensuring that there is a technical committee for the realization of Ibom Deep Sea Port. And this committee is made up of professionals in the maritime industry. It is headed by a lady, a woman, Mrs. Mfonusoro. And I'm happy to tell you that the committee has done very well. With the support of His Excellency, I'm happy to tell you that prior to commencement of construction, in the procurement process, you have 22 checklists, that 22 things that are supposed to be done before you commence construction. I stand here to tell you that we have completed 20 of those things. And the 21st one, it is ongoing. The final one is the approval from the Federal Executive Council, which we are very certain we are going to receive it. And once that is done, we will be ready to start construction. As part of the items in number 21, it involves studies of borehole by the investors, and they've committed a lot of money, and I'm very certain in the next couple of weeks they're going to start. So for me, the question is not when the port is going to be commissioned. As a people, we must prepare ourselves to take advantage of the opportunities that will come out from the port, starting from construction to the operation. I give you an example that during the setting up of Ibom Air, we had difficulties in finding pilots who are from our state. And in order for the airline to be operational, we had to look for people from everywhere to make sure we have the right number of pilots. But I want to thank His Excellency for the program that he has put in place by ensuring that any son or daughter of Akwa Ibom with the relevant piloting experience, that the state government is prepared to sponsor them to be type-rated in this aircraft that we are using. So it is important for you to be interested in when the port will be commissioned, but you should also take interest by ensuring that our young men and women improve themselves, update themselves, and acquire the necessary skills that will be needed during construction and the operation of the port. But whether the port will come or not, I can tell you is as certain as anything. So I want us to commend the governor because every resources that is required, he has made it available, and the committee have done a good job. So that's where we are. And, you know, I will not come up here to tell you it's going to be commissioned tomorrow. So let's just take it the way we took Ibom Air, that it was a scam, but it is not a scam today. I'm very certain that Ibom Deep Seaport will be actualized under the administration of Governor Odem Emmanuel, and that it is going to help create employment for our children, and it's going to help generate revenue for the state and Nigeria at large. I thank you.
It's one more time. Let's put our hands together for our honorable commissioners for those responses. And we thank you also for sending them through. With that, ladies and gentlemen, slowly we are almost getting to the end of this gathering. A few more announcements to just let us know. Immediately after the closing prayers, there will be lunch for everyone that is here. But please listen. You have to be at where you are assigned to. Please, please. As you go the other way, the left wing of the other hall is where we'll have all civil servants that are here seated. All civil servants that are here. So also NUJ members. NUJ members only. And other gentlemen of the press, please. Left wing of the other hall. On the right wing of that same hall, we'll have the traditional rulers, our fathers that are here. Members of socio-cultural organizations that are here, women groups, and traders. Right wing, please. And then at the extreme end of the hall, the other way, our distinguished guests on the high table will be going over there, being led by the permanent secretary herself. Please, all members of the high table on the other side, it's strictly for them, not you, please. Permanent secretaries, heads of parastatals, only the chairman of NLC, NUT, and NUJ, and TUC, please. Only the chairman of those organizations are to join them the other way. And of course, finally, representatives of financial institutions and professional bodies. Please, do not go to where you are not permitted to sit. Let's give honor to whom honor is due. Ladies and gentlemen, having come this far, it now rests on the honors of the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Finance. Please give us a vote of thanks. Let's welcome Mrs. Eme Ite Imok FCA.
Thank you very much. Members of the high table, my Lord spiritual and temporal, ladies and gentlemen, my duty this moment is to say a big thank you to all of you that have made this day possible. We want to begin by thanking the Almighty God who helped us to be here last year and has brought us again this year. That in addition to his son, Jesus Christ, that we celebrate this season, he has given us this budget for 2020, and we give him all the glory for the life that next year by this time again, we will all be gathered here. We want to thank His Excellency that has given us this opportunity. It is his support, his work that has brought us here. We want to thank the Executive Council, all the commissioners and their permanent secretaries as have been appreciated before. That it's because of their efforts, their contributions, their support that has made us to be here. We thank the finance team, the budget team, and we thank all the participants, the traditional rulers that have come here to carry the message home. We want to thank the market women, the students, the youth, the cultural organizations, and everyone that have come to hear and carry the message home. I want to really thank my colleagues, the permanent secretaries, for their backup support. I want to thank all of you, and I want to wish all of you a continuous Merry Christmas and a blessed New Year ahead. Thank you very much. May you be blessed in Jesus' name.
I thought you would say amen. I just love the last one. A continuous Merry Christmas and a blessed New Year. Ladies and gentlemen, having come this far, it is now time for us to take the closing prayers. And permit me at this point to please invite a pastor amongst us, Pastor Nicholas Ekarika, the SSA to the governor on budget, to please come and give us the closing prayers. Right after that, please just follow the arrangement. But don't go yet. until members of the high table have taken their exit. Thank you very much.
Please shall we rise. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you and we magnify you. For thus far, you've been with us from the beginning to the end. Thank you for the peace and tranquility you've dropped in the heart of Akwa Ibom people today. Thank you for the true picture of the finances of the state and how they are committed to projects in the states. Father, we're asking, oh God, the Vision 2020 that is being alluded here, we ask that the states will be placed with love, mercy, and grace of the federal government, so that at the end of that year, we'll be able to come back and say, of a truth, you were with us. Father, we ask, oh God, that as we are going, you go with us. Cover us with the blood of Jesus. We pray, oh God, that nobody here will miss 2020. We ask that, Lord, you will see us through these few hours that is left, and then reposition us for 2020. Thank you, Father, because I know that you've answered. In Jesus' name, we'll pray. Amen.
Thank you very much. Please, we remain standing while the commissioners and other members of the high table take their exits. And straight down to the lunch table. To remember once again, do not trespass. God bless Akwa Ibom State. God bless Nigeria. God bless Ministry of Finance. God bless our leaders. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Etup Ikon. I'll be in the company. So long, God bless you. Utumban, please, you will play and entertain the people.